What initially inspired you to pursue a career in hairstyling, and what was the journey like that led you from those early beginnings to styling hair for celebrities and working in Hollywood?
Well, I originally was born and raised in Iowa, and I have there's 15 in my family. I'm number 13, and I decided early on that I did not want to stay on our family farm and farm for the rest of my life, and so I went to the Army and I was studying art education and art history after the Army. And I realized I didn't want to teach and I didn't want to work in a museum. And my brother Leon, who's number 12, he was like, I really think you should do hair because you've got a great personality. People would love to work with you and work around you. And literally, that is how my career started. I think it was 2 weeks later, I enrolled in beauty school, and I literally have never looked back. And it was just a game changer. And, I moved from Iowa to LA 24 years ago. And I think, one of the big things that really helped me was being from a big family because you can literally get along with every personality type. And, my mom had always said, you're going to really love this career because you are an excellent listener. And a lot of times people just need someone to listen to them and not necessarily do anything, just listen, because sometimes you just need to get that off your chest. And every single person on this planet is exactly the same, whether you're a celebrity or not. And so that has really been a good benefit for myself and for others when I work on shows and different events. And it's been a really good journey.
And in your experience, how does a well designed haircut contribute to the development and portrayal of a character in film or television?
So when the main thing that I work on is competition reality, which are big performance shows, and it's almost like a concert. So when you think about a singer, they're basically a storyteller. So when I look at what that story is that they're about to sing and tell, if there's something I can do with the hair that's going to really elevate that experience and help to really transform that message and make it easier and more believable for people, uh, that haircut style combination is key. And we all look at like villains. We always say the eyes are the entrance to the soul. So if part of the eye is covered with hair, it's going to create mystery. It's going to create the illusion of, oh, I don't know for sure if I really trust that person. The eyes, when you see them and they're open, it really transforms a character. And that's just one simple thing, let alone, the shape, the silhouette, the structure of the hair. It all plays a very important role in the actual character they are playing.
And how do you approach the creative process of designing a hairstyle for a character in film or television? And how does this process differ from styling for a personal client?
So, a personal client, they usually bring in pictures from Instagram or social, and I'd like to look at this. And some of it has been, filtered and modified. So you have to talk about consumer ready to wear. Like, is this something that's going to be doable on a daily basis for this person to manage and to actually achieve that effective style? And when you're, creating that hairstyle or that image in TV and film, we're doing the work. The actor, the performer, they're sitting in the chair and they are trusting us to help bring that character to life. And so we have a whole process, excuse me, of just making sure our continuity is on point. So when I was helping out on the Hunger Games, we were repeating the same look 3 or 4 times throughout that week. So we have to have archivable footage, photographs of every angle, and we have to replicate that. And that's something that a regular, a personal client is just not going to do, even if they're going to be on camera, because now that vibe is definitely lived in and they don't want anything to be too perfect if you're if a personal client. But a character, they want it to be perfect. They want that hair to be the exact same every single time.
And what role does collaboration with other professionals like makeup artists and fashion designers play in your work?
Well, I talk about this a lot in one of the lectures that I do about my journey from Iowa to LA. And there's a lot of times you'll work with creative directors and they'll give you a creative concept that literally makes no sense. I will never forget one of the choreographers was like, I want you to imagine Galliano and Alexander McQueen having lunch at a sidewalk cafe. And we literally are supposed to design a look for a dancer. And I have a complete creative block. So when that happens, because we all have that creative block, I just remember that I have an 80-20 rule. As long as I'm 80% happy with my creative, I can bend on 10% for makeup and I can bend on 10% for wardrobe. And because I literally have no clue what to do, I'll go to the wardrobe, the costume designer, and I'm like, hey, what's coming to your mind with the wardrobe? Just especially like shoulder up. I just want to know what the neckline is going to be. And she's like, I really want to do like a high lace collar. And I was like, awesome. As a hairdresser, my first directive is all the hair has to be up so she can really showcase her collar. And then I go to makeup and I was like, what are you going to do for, what do you have in mind? And they go, we want to do these beautiful lace appliques over the eye. So now I know all the hair has to be off the face and up. And my third directive is I don't want to use lace because Alexander McQueen and Galliano are not matchy designers. They like a juxtaposition. So just based on that 80-20, I already have my creative dimension. I know everything has to be up here and it cannot be lace. And so we do some scallops and we work it out. And when it all comes together, every department is really happy with what they want creatively. And when you work together as a collaboration and you troubleshoot different areas, a lot of magic will happen. And I will never forget, they went out on the stage and the choreographer was like, oh my gosh, this is amazing. How did you ever come up with this? And I was like, how did you come up with that creative direction is what I want to know. But thank you for pushing us to work together and collaborate. And when you have a really solid team, a lot of great things can happen.
And what has been your most challenging project or client in your career, and how did you overcome the obstacles presented?
A lot of the obstacles are usually with personalities. And a lot of times if you have a difficult actor or performer, it usually has nothing to do with you because they're probably in their head about the performance, or maybe they aren't 100% sure on all their lines or their dialogue, and sometimes you just have to let people be and let them kind of sit in their emotions. And my thing too is I am of service. Like my whole job that I do is I'm servicing people, and I really want to make them look good and feel better, because when you look good and feel better, your confidence is elevated and your performance is definitely going to be affected by all of that. And so I just like to take a deep breath, and I was like, all right, let's work through this step by step, because literally everything is figure outable. And it could be something so small that has taken on wings that can just be rectified and corrected immediately. And so anytime a challenge arises, I always kind of take a step back and I kind of look at the overall picture and what my role is in that picture and how I can help. And if there's a block, it's all about communication. Because when you communicate about a challenge, it's the best way to correct it. And that has been the best thing for me within my entire career.
And what advice would you give to aspiring hairstylists who wish to make a significant impact in the industry?
Well, I always, whenever I get a question like this, I always think of my mom. She had 15 children. She lived until she was 94, and she instilled and just gave us a ton of wisdom. And one of the things that has really been impactful for me is, when you're in a big family of 15, how do you stand out? And one thing that has resonated is if you want to be noticed and you want to stand out, all you have to do is go the extra mile. I like to underpromise and overdeliver because I want to make sure that I get what I have to get done. But if I can do something extra, or I can elevate the experience, or I can make someone feel better, or I can take this process just to the next level, I want to do that. And every single time I have done that, I have stood out from everybody else, because a lot of people get overwhelmed. They're like, oh, there's no way I could do, what you do in the industry. And I go, you absolutely could. You just need to know how to set yourself apart from everybody else. And there's one thing that I always tell people, you might not want to work on everybody, and you may find their personalities are difficult and different, but you can still be kind and you can still make the situation much better. In the future, you never have to work on them because that's your decision. But anytime there's a professional hairdresser or a hairdresser who wants to do what I do, you have to be very clear of what it is you want to do, because this industry is huge. You can work in TV, you can work in film, you can work fashion, you can do so many different things, stage. And you really have to kind of hone in on that category that fits your personality. And even if you make one advancement a day, you're getting closer to that goal. Because listen, goals are overwhelming, and you just have to chip away at it one step at a time. Change does not happen overnight. And so don't beat yourself up, and stay strong and be consistent.
And what has been the most rewarding part of your journey as hairstylist?
I think, the most rewarding is being recognized for your work. And I've been nominated for many Emmys and many Guild Awards, and I've won some guilds, and there is something to be said about being recognized by your peers, and getting those accolades for shows that were really challenging, where it pushed your creativity and you nailed it. And at the end of the day, I just want to make my family proud in Iowa. Born and raised on a farm. I decided to move away, and it's super rewarding when I have, high school classmates. They'll text me and they're like, dude, you're nailing it. You are doing so incredibly great. We're proud of you that you spread your wings and you made it happen. And so that's super encouraging, and it is super rewarding as a hairdresser.